Hey guys, Joker the Fool here. This is the 123rd episode of the Braxcast. I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Of course, I'm also posting this like Monday into like Tuesday, so very much behind on the content. I apologize for that. The live stream I tried to do on Sunday was a complete disaster. But I did get some feedback from Rex Moss and basically saying that I'm not excuse me, covering the covers as well as I could be, because in the format I usually have where I'm filming the table physically, I've taken to showing the covers by putting them in post, so I don't really see them. I read out all the information, but I figure I got the browser open here. We've got 3 books to talk about, which is quite a lot. So these are going to be 2 Exclave number 2s, and then Arcstream Fall Start number 2, which is what we've got shown off right here. And it's going to release on the 5th of January 2027, with that cutoff date being on the 16th of October 2026. And it's basically most notable thing. Of course, this is the same 56 pager format that we have been seeing for basically everything. We do have a different artist. Of course, Andrew Rodriguez is still hitting the boxed wine and pumping out issues of Arcstream as always, but we do have a different interior artist. So Andrew Dahlhaus, I believe Lee Sands, I'm getting the name correctly, are the colorist and the artist for the first issue, but you're having an artist change in the second issue. In the first live stream that Eric July did for the animation crowdfunder backers, he had mentioned that artists basically needed help getting the books done. So this isn't a surprising thing. It's very common when there's as much content or as many pages being pumped out at the scale of the Rippaverse in comics, that you're going to have artists swapping on series. Invincible had it where like there were some issues where Otley was not the main artist, and this is like a very common thing for Marvel and DC, where you'll have inkers basically like not doing all the work and giving like very simple things like coloring in like something of like blacking out a gun or something like that to like an intern or something like that. So it's not scandalous or anything to say, but it's an interesting thing to note. And the one thing is that you could have this issue where there's a lack of stylistic consistency. It's something that is noted in Black Eyed Club because you had 2 different artists working on that one book. But it'll probably be a little bit more tolerable since it's and it changed from issue to issue, but we did have a different artist in the short story, and now with the first issue, and then with the second issue, it's going to be a bit hard to lock down like the quality of the Arcstream art, but we'll see how far he gets. This could be like just a couple of issues, or it could be a full ongoing series. So we'll see if it does become an ongoing series, if we get that locked in. But we've got the 4 covers. So cover A is by Scott Eden and Prasad Rayo, and this is it. So this is a pretty classic, like, getting the like Flash energy. Of course, you got like the cheetahs and the jet streams there to really accentuate the concept of speed. So we'll do cover B, which is by Edu Mena and Sebastian Shang, who worked on Isom number 3 and Isom number 2 as well. But this is a pretty classic in terms of like the retro style. You've got Lillian and Lillian and Michael Copper featured pretty prominently here. Love how Michael's got like the green lights, basically showing like he's got this like puppeteer energy about him. Absolutely love this cover. This is a fantastic one. I believe this is the one that I got. I'm at the point where I have to choose which covers I can get because I'm basically out of money, right? But this is a fantastic cover. Absolutely do love it. Probably is the best cover. We got the foiled embossed by Yevgeny Sokolov. He's been doing a lot of covers for the Rippaverse, and we got Marcos Martins as the colorist, and this is just a nice shot of Arcstream, basically with like a very smug teenage look in a city background. So I do like this one. Well drawn. I think Yevgeny has done a lot of like pinup drawings, so this is like a little bit different, but it's definitely in the same vein. Absolutely do love the logo. It's got that very futuristic look, which I think really suits his character. Um, and then we've got the mass print cover, which is one I got because it's the cheapest. I'm not sure. I might have gone, but whatever. I'm contradicting myself. But we got Ricardo Jamie as the artist and Tato Cabarello as the colorist, and this is just pretty typical. Like I'd say, this is like very movie poster-esque because you've got this one shot where he's all power, all lightening up, and he's running towards the viewer. And then you've got this shot of his face right there, and then you've got the logo right there. So this is like very much like a movie poster kind of style of cover, and it's a pretty good mass print cover. But we're moving on to Yaira Exclave number 2, and this is going to have a reservation cutoff of the 30th of October with 2026, with it releasing on the 19th of January in 2027. And then this is again going to be a 56 pager. But nice thing is that Deborah Carita is working on this, with it being written by the Saska sisters. And this is, the team that did Yaira. So, of course, we got the first issue of Yaira Exclave, and now we're getting Yaira Exclave number 2, just basically continuing the story of Yaira in terms of how she deals with the Exclave event. So, really, what's going to happen is that a lot of the characters, their ongoing series are basically going to be on pause for a little bit as they deal with the Exclave event, and they'll basically all resume. And it'll be really interesting to see how all these characters' ongoing series resume in the aftermath of the Exclave event, right? Because we'll talk about Alphacore Horseman, right? And then we'll see those as well, because we got Alphacore 3, and I believe like Horseman number 3 is on the way. I know we got number 2, but I'm pretty sure Horseman number 3 is on the way. Although, like, I have so many books, I cannot keep them all straight in my head. But we've got all 4 covers. So we've got cover A is by Mike Bowden with colors by Felipe Felix, and I would say it's got a very, like, I don't know, this style is one that I think it's nice, but I don't think it works for Yaira. So I think, it's done well, it's drawn quite well, but for the style that Yaira's established in the Rippaverse in general, it's like a little bit too stylized for me. There are plenty of comics where it does work for, so when people were very critical of Detention Crew and how, like, that style didn't jive with them, this is like, I kind of get the same feeling. Not to say that I think it's explicitly bad or anything like that, I just think it's not stylistically where the Rippaverse ought to be. But it definitely is a well laid out cover. I do like Yaira in her power with her powers. I do like the designs of the Devlings, so I don't think it's a bad cover per se. I just think stylistically I don't like it, but then again, that is a subjective thing, right? So then cover B is by Lucas Assissis, with Marcos Martins doing the colors. So we've got this basically classic shot of Yaira using her powers in a cityscape, very reminiscent of cover A of Yaira number 1 by Kane and White, basically channeling that kind of pose and the way she looks in that cover. So I definitely approve of that. We've got cover C by Marcos Rios, and this is done by Marcos Rios, the co-creator of Yaira. Definitely want to try and scrape up the money to get this one. I think I just went with the B cover, but this is definitely probably one of the best pieces of art. So this is the concept artist for Yaira. This is, of course, foiled and embossed, so it's going to look really, really beautiful. And you've got basically Yaira breaking out of her Sally Rodell costume. You see, like, the broken glasses here. You see, like, the lab suit basically just disintegrating as her costume is revealed, and you got the shards of ice around her. This is just a really well done piece, and honestly, it should be sold as a poster, right? Have this as like a big 18 by 24, whatever, a nice big poster. Like the ones that, when I do live stream, you see the ones I've got behind me. That would be a beautiful poster to have. I absolutely love this piece of art. So I'd say get on that, guys. But next we got the D cover, which is by Jim Munez with Felipe Felix doing the colors. And basically you've got Yaira channeling some Neptune energy. So she's like riding a fish. She's got like a trident there, just channeling the powers of the sea like Aquaman would, which is pretty interesting. I do like the style. I like the posing of everything. like how this shark is drawn, very menacing. So this is a great cover, and it's good to be the mass print cover. But that is the D cover. And we're going to move on to the last cover here. And this is Alphacore Horseman, Exclave number 2. So it's going to release on the 2nd of February 2027, with the cutoff being November 13th of this year, 2026. And there really is just, yeah, I want to say like too much. But same 56 pages. Jay Brown is doing the colors. Fabio Jansen is doing the inks. Joe Bennett is doing the pencil work, and this, of course, is written by Chuck Dixon. So basically, same team that's working on Alphacore and Horseman is doing the Alphacore Horseman crossover, which is really, really cool and does kill two birds with one stone. And then we're getting more Alphacore and Horseman. And Chuck Dixon, I think when I interviewed him for Braxcast number 51, probably the best episode of Braxcast I ever did. Unless I get to interview Eric July or the Soskas, which I don't think is ever going to happen. I'm slim pickings. But that aside, we've got the whole thing of getting more content for Alphacore and Horsemen related to the Exclave event. Very, very cool stuff. And of course, you got that first issue. I think this is one that was part of like the leaks, or what was revealed when Hachette, the Hachette group had a bunch of listings for like Walmart and Barnes and Noble, and there was like all these books that were listed. I believe this was included with them, at least the first issue, and of course, like the second issue is just implied to exist, right? But there we go. We've got the A cover by Igor. Vitorino and Felipe Felix. So just to show this off, this is really, really movie theater energy here, or movie poster energy. You just got the Alphacore trio and Horseman with the stallion behind him in an explosion. This is like, oh man, this is like a classic action movie poster. And it's just fantastic. I am really hoping to see like some action like that, where you just see Joe Bennett just basically able to go to town with these four brawling against a bunch of the Deathlings, especially a horseman, where he's got access to his gear and he just go balls to the wall, because Hector's got quite a nice arsenal, especially with everything that happens with Cal Buxton, of course, him having like kind of like rebuild it without Cal. If you read basically like I believe Horseman number 2, but it's getting a little bit into the weeds of the Rippaverse. So that to say, Horseman's got a lot of gear, and him having that full arsenal, which is implied by him having the stallion. And of course, American comics are very famous, and Rippaverse does as well, for having things on the cover that never happen in the books. Alphacore number 1 is very famous for this. Alphacore 1 cover B has a fight between Nalin Renashi and Ingrid Valdez, which never happens in Alphacore 1. It's just a really cool drawing, and it's probably one of the best covers. I believe Jack Herbert did that cover, if I'm getting that correctly. And it's probably one of the best covers of the Rippaverse. It never happens. But next, we've got the B cover, which is by Lucas Assistis, with Marcos Martins doing the colors. This is just a shot of the Alphacore, and I do like Ingrid's whip kind of like goes like off of the book. This might be a decent chance it's a wraparound based off of that, although there's no confirmation. And if you do look at that, it doesn't look like it's a wraparound, but it would be cool if it was, because it kind of looks like it could be. Especially because you got this cut off of like Ingrid's arm, but it is pretty typical for artists to draw like a little bit outside the bounds of what the final printed page is. If I'm getting that correctly, I'm not super knowledgeable on art, so I can be corrected. But this is a pretty cool cover. It does kind of fail to integrate the Horseman. Like, even if you saw like Horseman just like standing like here or someone like that, to kind of just include him on the cover. But other than that, I'd say this is a pretty nice cover. we've got the C cover, which is done by Ricky Pina with colors by Felipe Felix. And this is just the foiled emboss, and this is very much focusing on Horseman, basically just doing like the rip and tear, kind of like Doom Guy style. So again, this is featuring Horseman very prominently, which makes up for the fact that Alphacore is featured very prominently in cover B. So I guess they kind of even it out that way, which I definitely am all for. But this is a really good cover. But probably something like this would be better to save for like a Horseman issue individually. Because if this is Alphacore Horseman, like this big, beautiful logo says, I would prefer for the foil and emboss cover to be a drawing of both of them, especially since it's going to be a limited like team up series between them. I prefer to have like basically all four of them like fighting devlings or something like this, and then just saving this as like a Horseman a cover for the Horseman ongoing series. And that's a little bit nitpicky there, but I'm just going to stand by my guns. And then, of course, cover D is by Rafael Antunes with colors by Preset Rayo. It's basically Ingrid Valdez on her motorcycle, and which is first revealed in Chasing Ghosts. The name of it is escaping me, but I do like the name, I do like the look of this. This is a pretty nice cover. There's a lot of momentum, good visuals in this cover. But I'm going to leave it there, excuse me. And that is all the covers. So these were the free books that are released this week. You're watching this on Monday. Decent chance you're watching this on Tuesday. I believe it's like 5 p.m. Central. Eric July is going to do another live stream. So if you're a part of the Discord, the Rippaverse Discord, you can join. There was an email about it. So check your emails for that if you are one of the animation backer funds. And of course, you can actually check Rippa Works. And we can go to the animation fund, and you can see that it is currently at $114,000. So we're going to get that high action trailer, and we're going to get these 10 animated short clips coming pretty soon, probably by the end of this month. But this is still ongoing, and you do want to support this if you want there to be video games, because the assets that are going to be produced for these animations can be used in video games, and I think that is a really cool thing to do. I'm going to end it there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of the Braxcast. Let me know in the comments if you like this format, because there are going to be a lot of things like, or the releases are going to be like this, because we've kind of settled in this pre-order format where bunch of books are released and there's just a bunch of covers to go through. I think this is good where I can actually see the covers and give my commentary on them, rather than just me having the information written out and then filming it physically, because I'm not printing out the pieces of paper anymore. So I do think this is a nice format, and of course if you guys like it, I can definitely put more effort, make it more of a refined experience for you guys. So let me know what you guys prefer, what you guys think I could do better. But hopefully you enjoyed it regardless. Joker is. Thank you for tuning in to the Braxcast. Be sure to like, comment, follow, and subscribe to keep up with the Rippaverse.